Ready? Okay. Hey guys, I'm David Rubio Aguilera. This past weekend, I won the OTS Championship here in Monterrey, Mexico at Haru's store. I'm honestly really excited about this deck. It's my first stop at this type of events. And yeah, so my rounds were round one, it was against Branded Despia. Round two, mirror match against another Labrynth. Three was around against Unchained. Four was against Cash. Five against a mix of both Sprite and Tribrigade, I think. Yeah, I think it was a mix of those. Six was against Infernobles. Seven, another Unchained player. And eight, on last round, against a Kashtira player. So, let's go into the deck profile itself. Pretty standard, only two ladies, your boss monster, and the card that is going to give you the most advantage since you're going to be saying whatever you need. One lovely, she is your win condition on the mirror match. Since your opponent cannot respond to your normal traps, when you're going to be using yours, they're not going to be able to change their lady, and that's when you're going to keep locking them so they cannot set. Her recovery from graveyard is insane. So she's your boss monster. If you're going into a mirror match, hurry and special summon her, and she's going to give you the win. Then pretty standard, 3 copy of Ariana. She's your strat of the deck. She is just pretty good. So yeah, that's pretty basic. Then into the furniture, 3 Chandra, 3 stoves. What do I have to say? They are great. They trigger on graveyard when a monster leaves the field. Yeah, pretty good. I recommend you that if you happen to draw a bot, you first use Chandra effect to send with Torby, and then when they come back, Stove is going to be on your field and Chandra on your hand, and then you can use Stove effect to send the Chandra and keep setting whatever you need. That doesn't change at all. And then we have 2 clocks. I have seen people run 1, 2, or 3, and I think that 2 is the perfect number because you don't want to see this card very often in your hand. You rather special summon it with Big Welcome, but if you have to draw it, it's pretty good, but you don't want to draw both of those. And also, I run 2 because I thought that many people were going to play Kashtira as a final goodbye. Yeah, I happened to lose one of the clocks thanks to the Rise Hair effect when he removes 3 of the top of your deck. And I was glad that I was running 2 copies of this instead of 1. 1 field spell. This card, it's pretty cool on the mirror match. It, how do I say it? You're going to gain a lot of advantage from the destruction as well from the special summoning, but it's not a card that you want to see on your opening hand. You want to set it with the furniture, and on hand I feel it a little bit like a brick, but it's too good as for me to take it off from the deck in the side deck. Then 2 copies of Welcome. I only run 2 because its graveyard effect lets you keep sending it back once a monster leaves the field. And I don't like to draw 2 on my opening hands. That's the reason why I only run 2 instead of 3. Then we got the best card of the deck, Big Welcome. This one is insane, triggers everything on your side of the field and on the graveyard and gives you a compulsory like effect to take off whatever you need from your opponent's side. Can be floodgates, can be an annoying boss monster that cannot be destroyed but can be targeted, and it's against Unchained a pretty cool card since it bounces back and doesn't destroys. And you can also use it on your advantage to bounce back your monsters if you need it. Doesn't come that often, but it's pretty cool. I run 3 extra. Um, I don't like a lot prosperity. I mean, digging for 6 it's pretty cool, and especially on the once you have side deck for game 2 and 3. But the +1 that this card gives you is insane. Whenever they ash my extra, I I really feel it because it's just insane. You happen to draw. I won't say that everything that you need, but you can draw essential pieces of your engine. That's the reason why I'm running only extra instead of prosperity. For hand traps, I am running 3 imperm. It's I don't feel it as good because of Unchained since they can use their level 6. I forgot the name, the red dog, to destroy whatever you are targeting. But against other decks, it's pretty good. Also, it triggers Lady's effect on hand, and you can special summon her. And also, it's searchable with your deck. So, at least in Labrynth, I think it's pretty cool. In other decks, I don't know, but in this one, it is. 3 copies of Ash Blossom. It's pretty generic, hits almost every archetype on the current game. And yeah, it's pretty standard. I'm only running 6 hand traps because I don't feel they do as much in this current format and in the upcoming format as they used to do. People can play around in Biru. Some decks are main decking shifter. Some other decks don't care about it, and some decks are even running cross out on the main deck to take off stuff like draw lock. So that's why keeping the hand traps low. Then I have one of the most insane cards. This deck can take advantage, which is Skill Drain. It's pretty cool. Stops most of the plays from your opponent. And ironically, this happened to bother me on the final round, on the final game, because I wasn't able to use Lady's Effect to set another trap card. And the trap card I had set before was Imperm, so I was not able to use it. And actually, I was glad when my opponent took it off from the field because then I was able to snowball. But it was a pretty specific situations. On the other games that I happened to activate it, it was GG for my opponent. 1 Terrors of the Overroot. It doesn't destroy, it sends. It can also stop your opponent from uh, retrieving something from their graveyard. It's just pretty insane. 1 Dragon Prison. Pretty cool. Doesn't destroy, only does 1 target on the graveyard. And you can also use it to OTK your opponent if he has something pretty strong on the graveyard. You can steal it, attack for game. Doesn't come that often, but something you can use. Other traps I'm running. 1 Karma Cannon. I thought that there were going to be poorly players, but there were not a lot. There wasn't even one I think about now. But yeah, it's good against other decks. Against Unchained, you can stop their plays. Against Cash, it was okay, but yeah, I don't use it that often. But when I activated it, it was almost an advantage it gave me. The last trap card on Virus, it's pretty insane. I'm not running it on the main deck because I want to destroy the spell cards. I'm running it so I can avoid evenly match. What I will usually do is to hold the Eradicator, and if there were a couple of times in which my opponent on game 1 just said, going to battle phase, and I will ask, do you have something to do at the start of the battle phase? When they said no, I will try to set the virus with lady or activate it, then call traps, and I will destroy usually their evenly and any other traps they had. And with that, they didn't have a way to clean my board. So I would recommend for you to hold it. Of course, if you are going to get harpies on your field, you can just activate it, call spells, and try to get rid as much as possible. But I rather use it to avoid evenly. I'm running as well 2 copies of Fenrir. This card is insane. It's a +1, it's a strong monster, it's a free special summon. It removes from the field face down. There's no reason for you to not run it if your deck can. I'm running 2 because I don't want to draw Fenrir on. I don't want to draw 2 Fenrirs on my opening hand, or draw Fenrir with another Fenrir from the extra. I don't. I want to avoid to happen to draw 1 Fenrir on my opening hand, and I have to activate extra and draw the second. That's It never happened, and I hope it never happens. That's why I'm only running 2. I don't see any reason for you to run 3. And last 2 cards, I'm running double Lava Golem. I was thinking about how could I break my opponent board if I happen to go second. And I think Lava Golem is a great card. You don't really need your normal summon on this deck. It hurts if you draw Lava Golem on Ariana, of course, but it's not the end of the world if you happen to know how to play around it. But I find great Lava Golem on main deck, at least 2 copies. On this upcoming format, I might change Lava Golem to Kaijus if Poorly is getting more representation. If not, I'm going to keep the Lava Golems. That's for the main deck. 40 cards, no more, no less. Then I'm going into the extra deck. Only 1 Chaos Angel. There's no budget for 3 copies. I'm only running 1. I'm hoping that it doesn't get banished by the extra. It got banished once and it hurt a little bit because it was a play I could have done. I had to play around, but it wasn't the end of the world. If you can play 3, play 3. If not, play 2 at least. 1 Linguribo. Never came up. I was afraid of the Ibli, but I never happened to use it. Nightmare Phoenix to remove any floodgate, for example, a Royal Decree. They never pull it, so I never use the Phoenix. 1 Underworld Goddess of the Close Word. It's a pseudo kaiju. Helps you to take off any annoying monster your opponent may have, or any link to your opponent may have. Never came up, but you can use it. Then I'm running something a little bit curious. 1 Mood Dragon, 1 Diplex Chimera, 1 Garura, 1 Starving Venom, 1 Preplant Dragostapella, 1 Preplant 3 Trifoverentum, the one that uses 3 dark monsters. You know which one is it. 1 Mysterion and 1 Dragon Knight. As you can see, all of those are super poly targets. This one I plan to use it against Manadium, see if they try to Calamity lock me. There were not Manadium players, so never came up, never, only once, never. This deck doesn't need the extra deck, so it's something I want to try. It only came up twice. Those 2 times that came up, it helped me, but not as much as I thought it would. I might change Super Poly in the near future, but I will have to try new recipes for this deck. But in the meantime, that's what I'm running. And the last 3 cards for the extra deck are one The Last Warrior from Another Planet, one Ultimate Falcon, and a second Ultimate Falcon. These ones are targets for Waking a Dragon, I think it's called. Never came up. I hope for my opponent to hit me with Harpies, then I would use any normal trap, then change with Lady and set the Waking a Dragon. I never pull that combo, but again, I'm doing this because I don't need the extra deck. If your version of Labrynth uses the extra, then don't use this. For the side deck, 3 copies of Drone Lockbird. Never came up really. The decks that I played against didn't got hurt a lot by draw. The times that I cited it, I never saw it. So I might think about another card instead of Troll, but as well with Super Poly, I'll keep it for a while. 2 Bestials Blue and 1 Bestial Red. I cited this on the mirror match of Labrynth and as well on Branded, and I think that I used it against one Unchained. It only came up against the Unchained deck. I didn't really stop him, but it hurt his graveyard a little bit. I don't know what to do with these cards since they're pretty good with this deck, since you can use any of the Bestials and 1 Ariana to special summon Chaos Angel. And if you use the blue one and the Chaos Angel, you're going to have 2 removals without destruction. I might keep playing these cards for a while, but I'll have to try. These are the cards from the side deck that I want to try the most to see how good they are in the next format. Then 3 copies of Lord of the Heavenly Prison. This one is insane. Every time I draw it, it gave me a lot of advantage. Not exactly for the destruction protection, but it's a 3k body with attack and defense. The fact that it sets any card that you need, it's pretty good. So I thought about running this one on the main deck, but it didn't convince me a lot. So that's why I moved it to the side deck. The 3 Super Polys, there's no explanation. You saw my extra deck, so I will need to try to test this to see if I keep it or I take it off. And the last 3 cards, it's 1 Secret Barrel, 1 Dimensional Barrier. This one, I only cited it like once or twice and it never came up. I might take this scout out from the side deck and use another similar one. I think it's called Simul Archfiends, something like that. It just got a reprint from the Mega Teams, and it does a similar effect, but it also affects the Link monsters. The reason why I'm not really convinced by Dimensional Barrier is because many people are playing the crossout, so they can take this off. That's why I might change it in the near future. Last but not least, 1 Waking a Dragon. You already saw the targets, so there's no explanation needed. And that's it for my deck, extra and side. If you are for some reason watching this and you speak Spanish, just see the Spanish version we recorded from another channel. I'm going to leave the link below. And thanks to the guys from Akibara Express, they have helped me to improve my game. And yeah, thanks. Thanks to Haru Store for the organization. They did a pretty good job, and hope to see you in the near future with another profile. See you.